on tonight's Cover One Buffalo Cover One Buffalo podcast, Aaron informs me whether I got traded at the trade deadline. But first, our guys, Handsome Jack.
Broadcasting live to Bills Mafia Worldwide with Greg Tompsett and Aaron Quinn.
Welcome to the NFL. Doesn't matter what's happened before today. Today's a brand new day. It's a brand new season.
Your number one podcast for objective Buffalo Bills coverage. No matter where you are, we got you covered.
Good evening and welcome to the Cover One Buffalo podcast. You are joining your host, who's apparently still like emotionally wrecked from watching the Michael Hoyt injury video, and his co-host Aaron Quinn. Aaron, how are you doing?
If we knew we were going to come out and perform like this after the trade deadline, we would have been much more aggressive at the trade deadline. We got to get ourselves together here. I hope the Bills are taking this week a little more seriously than I am, Greg. We're kind of talking offline. Not that I get it. Any given Sunday, divisional opponent, wonky games. You don't have to tell me I'm nervous mafia as much as anyone, but had a tough time like prepping for this game. Even the amount of work that I've done. Part of it is the divisional opponent aspect of it.
We know them very, very well. It's our second matchup.
Yes. Part of it was the trade deadline. Takes a lot of our attention here this week. But yeah, I don't know about you, but I had a hard time prepping this one.
Yeah, I mean, and the Dolphins shipped out some players too, so
looks like a team, as you like to say, that could be full of quit in them.
Yeah, that team's got a lot of quit in them. Yeah. That team's got a lot of quit in them. If we jump out at all, they're gonna pack it in real fast. Also, we lost to the Falcons and they beat the Falcons, so obviously there's all kinds of fun things that go into that. First, welcome. Join us here. We had a guest lined up for tonight that it ended up falling through. And rather than scramble to bring in a different guest, you guys know our friend Marcel Louis-Jacques, and wasn't able to work things out with Marcel to join us this week. But with the trade deadline and all the other things going on, Aaron, I thought it would be good to be able to kind of talk through processing what the weird rumors that went in the couple days. We always tell people Cover One's not a news breaking company, but of course people come tell us things like it's just the way this world works. Like when you build relationships, Eric has guys on the show from the team all the time. You think he doesn't still have their number to check on things? And Aaron and I have been around doing this for a long time. You end up building relationships. People come tell you things. All the stuff that Bean talked about in his presser today, from everything we heard, was pretty true. Like that, they were on the phone with a couple specific teams trying to get some things done. And, guys like Tim Graham do not throw out messages like that for nothing. Like when Tim Graham puts out that, hey, watch out for Deebo Samuel and Von Miller. I heard whispers about the Titans checking in on Tavondre Sweat and working on Calvin Ridley. I know lots of people heard different bits and pieces about, we had people coming in to tell us about Trey Hendrickson in different directions. I think all of those are a version of true. I don't think any of them were completely fabricated. The depth of discussions, whether it got to real negotiation, how thorough it got. I had some people tell me that we were the second team in the Rashid Shaheed negotiation, and how that was reported that there was a second team, and the Seahawks ended up beating out a second team. I had someone say that we were the second team. I have no idea to know if that's true or not, but I think in general, you're very good about always saying that Brandon Bean calls everybody about everybody. He's checking in on things all the time. We get used as a stalking horse a lot to kind of, we used to be used as the rabbit and free agent to chase money. Yeah. But, it's actually pull the one bit back up that was just up there, Colin. There was a lot of people telling me whether it was Deebo or Calvin Ridley were the two I heard most often, and Von Miller too. Like, well, I want you to do something. Wait, not like that. There was a lot of that. How did you process the rumors, the trade deadline, and then the ultimate inaction? How did you process all of that going on?
I took my kids to go see Tron Ares and just
How was that?
it was actually pretty good. It was fun. It
Nice.
kept me preoccupied of having to scroll that like last 2 hours. It felt right at the end of the deadline. But no, honestly, I take Brandon Bean a lot of the time at face value. I think when he talks now,
He's pretty. I think he's more transparent than people realize.
I think so. I get accused of just kind of being a homer that takes all that information, but I do think when he talks to the media, everything checks out to the, like you said, some of the things that we hear and the rumblings. I take a lot of those. Like you said, we've been doing this a long time. I've seen more misses than truths. I've seen some truths though, like some come through the inbox and they definitely hit. And so I think your antenna goes up anytime you see those. And then you pair that with what the GM himself says, kind of what league sources are saying and things like that dropping, and you can kind of make some of those connections. I think the frustration for the fan base comes with you get a GM like a Howie Roseman who always is in the action and his team's competitive year over year. And I almost wish
real quick, I won't let his ability to consistently close deals stop me from saying that completing a trade is really hard in the NFL.
Yeah. He's crazy good.
It's weird that he's so freaking good at.
He's got blackmail on like everyone,
getting
right?
these things like, and people joke all the time, but like half the time, I don't know why people answer the phone when he calls. Like, why would you keep trading with this guy? It's weird. But besides him, most of the rest of them, you know, like
correct.
If we gave up 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, I would have lost my mind. 2 first-round picks, and their equivalent. They gave up A.D. Mitchell with that. They gave up 2 first-round picks and Keon Coleman for Sauce Gardner. I would have lost my mind if we did that. So I guess it could have been worse.
It absolutely could have been worse. And I think, you know, Bean kind of talked about that too. Like some of these situations, and this was my pause of trades. Like I really like Shaheed as a piece. I actually think he'd be a really nice piece in the Bills wide receiver room. I think he brings a skill set that would be nice and beneficial to this offense. I think you're also getting a rental player. And that is, you know, whatever you want to say about the draft capital that was given up for him, Bean does still have to stock up that back half of the roster year over year. You've seen him even, you know, people say he's a really poor drafter. I think this last draft class was good, but year over year, you're probably only hitting on half that draft class. So I understand, you know, not wanting to part with this capital. And I thought he got into actually really good explanations of, you know, the inner workings of individual teams' contracts, right? And like how that carries over what 2026 looks like, what to 2027 looks like. And we were all so excited, Greg, this summer and offseason when they were able to get Greg Rousseau on a good deal, when they were able to get James Cook back, all these deals that they locked up. And maybe not everyone's performing to the expectations of those deals here at this point in the season, but you're only able to make those kind of deals and sign your own successful guys if you don't get crazy and make some crazy trades. And outside of Shaheed, I don't know, was like, I think you said it best last week. If there was a number 1 wide receiver that went for nothing, I would get on here and rage, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, if somebody beat us out for, you know, Chris Olave got moved, Jalen Waddle got moved, AJ Brown got moved, and somebody beat us out for that, then I would have been a lot more upset. I would have been a lot more frustrated, and I would have come on here with a much more negative reaction because, hey, how did we let anybody beat us to that? And it's tough because in theory, the Seahawks 4th and 5th rounder is slightly more valuable than our 4th and 5th rounder. So we would have had to beat that
value,
with like
right,
a 3rd and a 6th or whatever. Some combination that's slightly better than Seattle's 4th and 5th because, you know, we have a better record than them and are likely to finish with a better record than them. So that their picks are more valuable if it's just a tiebreaker or both teams offering that.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that both us and the Seahawks had a 4th on the table or something like that. And then, or whatever. And the Seahawks then upped it to a 4th and a 5th. And the only way for us to beat that is, like I said, whether it's a 3rd and a 5th or a 3rd and a 6th, that was just a bridge too far. And he stopped. And like, again, in the moment, am I going to say like, well, I would have done the 6th, 3rd, probably, but like my job's not on the line in that way. So that's the only deal that happened where I immediately said, oh, I would have done that. You know, the first, second, and a player, whatever, that was given up for Quinn and Williams. Like, Quinn and Williams is awesome, but that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, and they took all the money in the deal. They're taking the full contract. The Sauce Gardner, I think, was a gross overpay. Maybe the Ravens getting Draymond Jones from the Titans for a fourth.
Sure.
That was probably borderline. He's a guy that I think we probably could have used in a Hoyt-ish kind of movable role because he's kind of interior, kind of exterior. But again, Trey Hendrickson didn't get moved. None of the big names, heck, even like a Calais Campbell that I wanted didn't get moved. Yeah. None of the big receivers got moved. So
honestly, even the rumors of the Debo one, when I saw that pop up, I didn't love it. I like Debo as a player, but like that doesn't feel like the piece that felt like doing something for maybe the sake of doing something. I didn't hate the idea of like, and people will probably kill me, the idea of like also throwing in a Vaughn as like a rotational piece.
I'll take it a step further. I was slightly more excited about Vaughn than Debo. Like I was like, well, like Vaughn's got 23 pressures and 5 sacks this year.
Role.
Like he's a perfectly fine fourth defensive end.
Sure.
Debo is better than Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore, but the exact same role as those guys. So like, I guess, how about this? If they were taking back Curtis Samuel in his contract, and like you take Curtis Samuel back to Washington,
that's what the Bills were trying to do, and they didn't want to.
We'll take Debo and Von Miller, and just we both like I would have been fine with that. Like I wouldn't have celebrated. I would have been like, oh my god, I can't believe we got Debo. I think he's better, but he's still like he's not. Khalil Shakir's better than him.
Yeah.
He probably would be our second best wide receiver because unfortunately our second best wide receiver isn't playing very good. And then when Josh Palmer gets back, Debo's probably our third best receiver. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to argue with people about Calvin Ridley because it didn't happen and his contract's ugly, but they were only going to take him if the contract worked out. But Calvin Ridley is an elite route runner who has played with trash quarterbacks for the last while. And even with them, he's produced, heck, with that travesty of a quarterback room last year, he still had like 15 yards a catch and 1,000 yards. Yeah. And he's had some elite seasons. So I would have been fine if they traded for Calvin Ridley, but only if Tennessee ate all the money and we took him as a veteran minimum.
And I think that's, from what I heard of Bean today, he talked about some of those guys that would maybe need some money rework that you would have to have gotten that all done before the day of the deadline.
I wasn't sure if he was saying that. I know that's 100% true on our side.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if he meant they had to have that done the day before. And
it sounded like, because he brought up like sign-in trades in the NBA where like you agree to a deal and then you kind of like work out later after the fact for the deadline type stuff. And he was saying like that they wish maybe that NFL would kind of introduce some of that other leagues have, where it's more of a sign and trade than like we have to make some agreement to take on cap or whatever like that. Cause there are players I think that get stuck in a situation. It's almost unfair. I'm sure the players union doesn't love it, even though I know these guys sign these deals to these teams, but a Calvin Ridley kind of being stuck down there right now in the prime of his career isn't good for anyone it'd be nice if he was easily a freed up asset that could be moved to a team like Buffalo this time of year.
Yeah. Real quick, as we're going through here and reacting to these things, we will get into a little bit about the Dolphins game. But if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Producer Colin's going to come ask us at the end of the show, and the best questions you can put in the chat, we will ask live on air and credit you on the show here. So one more thing here. Sure. We talked about those different pieces that did get moved, and I think both of us would have done something around Shaheed, but probably not beat that deal. I don't know that I would have paid more for Jacoby Myers, and the Jaguars did pay all his money. I do wish we weren't in the division with the Dolphins, because the Dolphins ate all of Jalen Phillips' money to get a third for him. I might have given a third to take Jalen Phillips at a veteran minimum contract. That's the one that they're not going to do that for us. They're not going to eat all the money and send him in division to watch him be good on the Bills. So it doesn't really matter, but that one's kind of a shame that the Jets and the Dolphins were the biggest sellers and that were in their division. And even if I think some people overplay they'll never trade somebody in division. They will. But if there's an equal offer or a close offer out there, they'd much rather send him somewhere else. So we have to materially beat the best offer to get a guy like that.
Like Bean said, everybody's available, right? Like at a certain,
you can overpay for anybody.
Correct. And again, I think I posted it on Twitter. We're so lucky that I'm not in charge of this organization, because I would have made the Jets some offers for Garrett Wilson and maybe even the Dolphins for Waddle. That would have been like I say it all the time, like they'd have to laugh hanging up on me to be like, there's no way he's serious.
When people were reporting that the Dolphins wanted a first plus for Waddle, my immediate reaction was
send it.
And okay. Like I'm ready.
Yeah,
sign me up.
I don't know if I would make a good GM for those reasons, but I like those players a lot. I would have overpaid to get them involved with Josh Allen. Brandon Beane said it himself, like the Bills are not in that position to get proven players. And I would much rather take the proven production of the NFL player than the hope that a really stud, a Jalen Waddle type prospect is going to actually hit if you were even able to get in those top picks. So I think, to me, I think he overvalues those a little too much in these situations, but I don't know that any of those guys were actually, like he also said, like a lot of those conversations, a guy is available, a guy is not, then deals are kind of put on the table and then the guy all of a sudden isn't available. So that could have been the case with these two.
Yeah, it's always going to be a mix. I thought, he did talk about, some of these new GMs coming in, making all the trades, came up in a world where they were playing literal fantasy football and sure, but Jerry Jones made one of the biggest trades of the day and he's just an old senile weird man. So, and Howie Roseman's the same age as you, Brandon. So it's certainly feasible. There are guys on good teams consistently making deals. Eric DaCosta and Howie Roseman make more trades than any other GM and run sustainable good organizations. So it is not
Les Need's up there too.
Sure. Les Need, Veach in Kansas City makes a pretty fair amount of trades. Matter of fact, there were some Chiefs fans who were mad, being like, "Oh, so
now we're not all in."
You'll give up a third round pick to go get the dumb Giants receiver.
That
stepped over the line for them. How's his name?
God,
the ghosts in the chat are yelling at us.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Good Lord. You'll give up a third for Kadarius Toney, but you won't give up a fourth for Breece Hall. I would have been, Kale Murray's got us. I would have been furious if the Chiefs got Breece Hall. Their run game is so muted because they have these poor below average athletes there. Thank God they have something they're not great at. If you plug Breece Hall in there, I would have been furious. So I'm really glad that Veach, drew the line. And wouldn't give up the fourth the Jets wanted.
Also, I'm kind of glad that the Patriots didn't get crazy and make those offers like I'm talking about with the in division, because if they would have got Breece or Garrett Wilson or Waddle, I hate that. They're close. And that's a step of now that's for real. If they get a running back like that, no thank you.
I would not like that.
Yeah, so thank you, Jets, for continuing to be a terrible run organization. And
so one last piece before we beat this dead horse all the way. If you could have picked out one realistic trade, so none of the ones even any fans were asking for, flashy high-end trades, what's the one that you would do? And if you need a second, I have one that I could filibuster for you for a second.
Yeah, go ahead, and because this is new to me, so go ahead and give me your prepared one.
So I will talk about the receiver position and the fact that our offense is actually still pretty good. The way Cole Bishop played, the way Max Harrison played, I still do have a little bit of anxiety about linebacker, but Shaq Thompson's actually been pretty good. Dorian Williams has been a little better than we've been, and we had Bernard Milano back last week. I'm gonna hope that Daquan and TJ Sanders are both back and that Deanne Walker can continue his shocking level of play. So I would have been at versatile pass rusher type of guy. It would have been, like I said, I mentioned the Draymond Jones one. I would have really pushed the Cardinals to try to get Calais Campbell because he can play all 4 positions across the defensive line. He literally had 2 sacks the night before the trade deadline. So I don't care that he's 39. I need him for 3 months. And I would have pursued him personally to be like, hey, I know you guys had some hope that this season was going to go better. It hasn't. Why don't you come try to finish out one run with us? And you can come back and sign for a day and retire as a Cardinal. You know, there's nobody's stopping you from doing that. But come and give us a shot. That's the one I think that check the most boxes for me of not a part of a team's future plans, not crazy expensive the way they structured his deal, rental for everyone involved, and reasonably attainable. I think it would have cost us like Draymond Jones 4th round pick. Like, hey, Arizona will give you a 4th. Give us Calais Campbell for the run here, and he could literally plug in. He's different than Michael Hoyt, but he would have been that versatile, movable piece that, you know, when he's on, he could just collapse the interior of an offensive line, get his hands up everywhere. That would have been the one that I would have maybe made a little bit harder effort to rent.
Fair. I like that. I like the versatile piece to it. So I think, and this one really didn't come up, I would think I would have called the Raiders on Jeremy Chin a little bit aggressively.
Yeah.
I like where Cole Bishop's heading.
Yeah.
I think that is solid. I like Jordan Poyer, like the ability of Jordan Poyer as a veteran player in that room helping a Jordan Hancock. I like the player that I think Jordan Hancock can become. I have a lot of concerns of Jordan Hancock being a safety 2.1 or whatever they're going to call him, 2B, in this rotation. I don't know when that rotation is going to stop. There was enough moments for me watching that game. He's very raw. I like him. He's very raw.
Did you see the snap count between those two Sunday?
Yes. Yeah.
34-26. So
yes.
Poyer was on the field for 34, Hancock for 26. It is a platoon. It's a platoon.
And I don't love it. And it feels like a tell. And it feels like teams are going to start to take advantage when things are getting platooned and do certain things. I think Hancock struggled a little bit in run support. I think he got lost in zone quite a few times. I think it would have been more of a talking point this week had Kansas City made a comeback in that game. And like that game goes into overtime. Some of those big plays were just inexperienced. And I'm fine with it with Max Harrison because he's shown that like athletic ability and the ability to make plays on the ball, and he's handling his own. I can live with the rookie mistakes I know he's bound to make. I know Cole Bishop, Baron Bean spoke on it today. There's more mistakes coming for Cole Bishop, even though I think he's trending in the right way. I just don't think Hancock's quite ready yet. And I don't know if he's going to have the time to get there this year. And so that still seems like a vulnerability to me that's kind of hanging in the background. And I don't love the answer for it not working now that Rapp's out of that equation.
Yeah. And it's, it's tough. Obviously, I don't think the plan is for that to be a platoon going forward. I would assume that this is a necessary Band-Aid to find out, can Jordan Hancock be a starter, or do they need to just hope that Poyer can make it? I will say the only scenarios where a platoon work is where one guy plays in 3rd and 8 or longer. Because like if the way that you call their bluff is, oh yeah, we're gonna run the ball on you in 3rd and 8. Okay. All right. Try to make us pay. Go ahead. Now, of course, when you're on the field in there, if they convert on the pass and then run no huddle and catch you on the field where you can't substitute and get Poyer back on, they can catch you no matter what. But in fairness, they can also convert a running first down on a 2nd and 4, get into a passing scenario, spread out, go 5 wide, get Poyer out in space, and isolate him too. So it's not like there are risks on both sides of the platoon.
That's the problem. That's it. You can get caught with your pants down at times, and it doesn't even have to be targeting in that way. It could be you're in that 3rd and 8 scenario, and you've seen enough times on film this guy get a little bit lost in zone. I'm gonna test that until he proves that he's figured that out on tape, type of thing. And I don't know that anyone's really gone at Hancock too bad. There was a couple explosive in that last game. Anyway, I'm high on the player. I don't want to sit here and kind of like bash on a player. I think he can develop. There's going to be a lot of live.
We didn't want to find out his rookie year in a Super Bowl run.
Yes, the team needs him to step up and develop. That the best case scenario right now for that, because you didn't get aggressive in the deadline here, and guys like Hamlin are hurt and Raps out for the season. This is what we've got. The best case scenario is Hancock having some really high end year 1 development. But I keep in mind, Cole Bishop just hit his 12th NFL start, and we're just starting to get really excited and see that.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
All right. So for our Here to Help segment with our friends from William Mattar, we both kind of danced around the possibility of trading for receivers and how fun it would have been, but maybe a piece of why they didn't got talked about at press conferences yesterday and today. What are your realistic thoughts on the Bills activating and playing one Gabriel Davis?
I think it is inevitable. I think we're a few weeks away. I think Gabe would tell you he's closer than that, because football players are like that, as we saw from Michael Hoyt's video of even refusing to leave the field. I think he's ramping up. I think the Bills want to be careful with this, especially with the injuries that they've seen this year. They're in no rush. I also think this is timing up well with Josh Palmer's potential return here. Limited today.
We'll talk about the practice report, the injury report in a moment.
Yeah. But I think that's another big one, and I think that the wide receiver room really shapes out better than it was a month ago if Gabe is 80% of what he was. Again, you've done a great job talking about it. I think we've talked about it on the show a bunch. The problem with Gabe Davis was the optics of Gabe Davis after the big playoff run and the 4 touchdown game. Nobody really knew where to place the value on him, but the value's always been
not the 1B that people wanted him to be.
Correct. The value is where he's going to be in this Bills offense, which is like that Matt Collins role. If Keon isn't able to make a role, being able to at least be a productive member of the offense in that capacity. So it's nothing but a benefit. But the one I'm really excited for, Greg, is Josh Palmer. I know he hasn't hit to the free agent expectations, but I just encourage everybody to remember Eric was super excited about this pickup. Joe Marino was super excited about them getting him into this offense. And
he looked like he was about to break out in that game when he got hurt.
Really did. And Bean talked about it too. Like, if you trade for a wide receiver, he talked about that, what all that work that was done in the spring and in the summer. And Palmer had that work done. He was just starting to get his legs in this offense. So I'm excited to see if they can pick up where they left off.
Yeah. I'm very similar in, if I had to guess, if it was up to me, I would play neither of them against the Dolphins. We'll get to that in a moment on the injury report. I would bring Palmer back for the Buccaneers next week. I would do Gabe coming out of the mini bye after the Thursday Texans game, going into the Steelers game. So you're talking there, that's like week 13. So you do that there, you get 6 games leading into the playoffs where he'd get to play for 6 games, get himself fully healthy. 6 games is a really solid like ramp up period to be ready for the playoffs. If it was me, I would bring him back in that 10-day window coming off of the Texans Thursday nighter to get ready for that Steelers game, which I think will have playoff seeding implications. Like that's a game that will matter. We should win. It's but it's at Pittsburgh, and that's a big time game. Aaron Rodgers, that team, they just beat the Colts. That is a game that's going to matter for playoff seeding. That would be my window. And then if we have Palmer and Gabe, I think obviously that sits one of Samuel or more.
Sure.
It also dials back expectations and the snap count for Gabe Davis or for Keon Coleman, and allows that to be pretty much 3 guys playing for 2 outside positions. And again, Gabe Davis was never going to be the 1B receiver that people wanted him to be. But when you have Dalton Kincaid and Khalil Shakir as realistically the top 2 options, and he's in a mix to be option 3, 4, 5, and like he's just a high-end rotational 5th passing option, that's really nice. And I think people took the fact that, but he wasn't the 1B that we thought he could be coming off that awesome playoff game, has equated to, he's trash and doesn't deserve to be in the NFL, is never correct. Like,
and everybody wants Matt Collins. So
he signed that $30 million deal in Jacksonville for a reason. Like he had a big market. Multiple teams were throwing big contracts at him.
To be fair, the Jags are going to jag sometimes. But but he did get money. He got his value on
they were not the only team looking to like we weren't even the second highest bidder on for his services. So he had a market for a reason. And again, that also was an overpayment. He's not a double-digit 10 million plus per year receiver.
Good for him though, for getting somebody to pay him.
Bless him. I think he got like $20 million to be there for 11 games. That's good work if you can get it.
Yes.
But again, people have taken that as, he's not a 1B. He's not a like succession plan to Stephon Diggs. And, he's not a $30 million receiver. And they've equated that to, he's trash and doesn't deserve to be in the NFL.
Anything.
That's not true. Like the dude scored 30 touchdowns with Josh Allen. Like you don't score 30 touchdowns in the NFL if you're not pretty good at football. Like that's an incredible production. He did, like, again, he was never going to live up to that sustainably, but he did score 4 touchdowns in a critical playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Like those are real things. So, it just puts you into, we need to be realistic about what's there, but he can contribute to this team.
2 things on this. One, do you think before that mini bye, would it make sense for a guy that hasn't played to get some load management that week and then give him the mini bye to get recovered and see how he feels heading into a bigger game?
We've obviously seen that with their approach to some of these other guys with the snap count and an introduction. So that's totally feasible.
Just kind of, hey, how you feeling? You haven't played football in a while.
Whether it's Tampa, we could see that in a couple spots.
My second point is in this kind of conversation, and I know that there is starting to drum up some excitement of Gabe and almost an inevitability that he's going to take some kind of role here. Is there anything for you in between here and there that Keon, that Curtis Samuel, that Elijah Moore can do to sort of fight off this, what feels like an inevitable addition to the roster in that wide receiver room? Because like you said, it's going to impact one of them probably not making that active roster, if not the target shares when he does get involved. Can they kind of hold him off here over the next 3 weeks or so?
I think it would be, I'm not going to say silly. I would be very surprised if Elijah Moore or Curtis Samuel did anything that impacted that.
Sure.
We've seen little tiny flashes here or there, but they've had opportunities to show up like, hey, is this going to be more than just what you've been your whole career, which is little tiny flashes here or there. I don't think that's going to change. There's reason, like we've also seen some legitimate moments from Keon this year that have given me excitement, and then stretches where you forget that he's on the team. So if there was one of those 3 who was going to take a step forward, it would be the second year player who is also really young and still has had some flashes. And so if I'm going to buy into that, it's going to be the guy who, is still 22 years old.
Is the Gabe pressure enough to like get the best out of Keon finally here?
Hey, I'm open to that, but he's the guy who's had 8 for 112 and a touchdown this season. Like he's had those kind of games. So I'd need a couple of those in a row.
Yeah.
Like I'd need to see a little bit of that on a more consistent
Seattle
basis.
game from him or something.
Yeah, so we need to see more of that to where it can consistently be a part of it. And I'm not sure if I'm expecting that. Yeah. I don't think that I'm expecting that. I'm hoping it would be cool, but I'm no longer expecting that. But we also had this moment at, if I'm being fair, probably this exact point in his career where both of us were ready to move on from Spencer Brown. And then he, materially exceeded that.
Everybody was pretty frustrated that Dalton Kincaid this time a year ago that wasn't quite living up to the expectations that we had placed on him. And now I'm super content with the way that things are looking. So,
100% accurate. So, I am out of those three. He absolutely could have a moment how about this? I don't think anything's stopping Gabe Davis from being on this football team. Gabe Davis is going to be on the Bills regular season roster and is going to dress and is going to play. That's happening. Keon Coleman could have a couple games in a row here that make sure that stays as wide receiver 5-ish.
Yeah.
And keeps it a distant 5th. I think there's a possibility.
He's the Shavers role that Gabe comes into the
he is in the Shavers role where we see him on the field a fair amount, but it's niche roles in bits and pieces. I think there's an alternative universe where he becomes pretty prominently the second receiver and third passing option, pending Josh Palmer's health, and then any step forward from Coleman.
Sure.
Where there's a scenario where he's behind Shakir and Kincaid and is the next option.
Sure.
I would much prefer the one where Palmer is healthy and Coleman is playing well, and he's a nice bonus as a 5th, like Matt Collins turned into. We all loved Matt Collins because the expectations were here, and he'd end up making some nice plays as a 5th receiver. And, just the attitude and the approach, I think Gabe will bring some of that energy, but I'm ready for that as a bonus. I don't want to be depending on Gabe Davis.
We are in full agreement on this one, my friend.
All right. Before we have producer Colin come up and ask us the glorious questions from the chat, another reminder that you can come up and do that. Feast your eyes on this. I just presented for fans who are listening the injury list. And if you can't see, you can't tell that Aaron is squinting because there's so many names on this list that when I saw it, I almost lost my mind. Now, I will say, half of the internet yelled at me that, it's only Wednesday, it's a walkthrough. Sure. Like, you're right. And plenty of these will change and people will play. But I didn't know AJ Epinesa was in concussion protocol. That's not that cool.
I didn't see hitting Mahomes.
He hit Patrick Mahomes so hard that he gave himself a concussion. I saw that reply, which is fantastic.
Okay.
It was really, really good. I didn't love the video of Joey Bosa. I don't care if he gave a thumbs up. It did not look awesome. His wrist looked like it hurt. And now, again, that was third quarter, and he finished the game and had a sack after that play. So, obviously it was not debilitating, but it's not great.
Annoying.
Yeah, I don't like it. Do not like. We saw James Cook. Matter of fact, we talked about it in the postgame show. There was like a 3-snap series where Ty Johnson played what were absolutely James Cook snaps, like where James Cook would have come into the game, but he couldn't because he rolled his ankle kind of weird and got rolled into and had to get taped up twice. They said, taped up, then they had to go retape it again. And then he didn't play today. So
just double up his smelling salts. It'll be all right.
So one, I know what you're going to say, but one, how do you approach health going into a game like the Dolphins? We're even on the road. I think we're like 9.5 point favorites or something. 2, are any of these more concerning than the others overall?
My approach to this game is I'm giving as many as I can rest. I know that's a delicate balance in the NFL.
We have to take them seriously. Any given Sunday, these are professionals. The Dolphins have beat good teams. Yep. They are ready to quit on us, but they're also the opposite, where if they get a little thing running and they get an early lead, they will play hard the whole game and they will try to win.
They got players that can make big plays and bust up games.
Jalen Waddle's still faster than anybody. Now we have Max Harrison. I don't even have to say that anymore.
The Bills,
but besides Max Harrison, we don't have anybody that can catch Jalen Waddle.
And the Bills have played some sloppy football at times. So I'm not saying that this is going to be a cakewalk, but it is a big spread. It is a team, in my opinion, that I think the Bills roster is so much better than the Miami Dolphins roster at this point that you can afford to not maybe have your entire roster. And if there is a guy that, like a Bosa, just needs a week of rest, I can find a way to make up for those snaps in this game. And I feel like you should be able to still win this one.
Let's see
It
what
gets a little
Landon
hairy.
Jackson's got.
It gets a little hairy though with the AJ Epinesa concussion and that type of thing too. You might need to just dress a Bosa and put him on a heavier snap count and limit that rotation for him. Bandage, just put him in a freaking club for a week and just say, go rush the passer on third down type situation. I'd be fine with that. I think Cook, I would give a week off. I think, again, this defense.
I'm fine finding out what Ray Davis has got for 1 week.
I don't think it's a great defense in Miami. And I think that
even when they're trying hard, it's a bad run defense.
I think it's a bad run defense. I think that what I have seen this past week, I don't know if the people that probably don't follow me on social media, the love fest I now have with the Reggie Gilliam, Jackson Hawes, and just dispersing space. I think you can just bully this team right out of
smack those guys around. I'm fine to even mix back in some jumbo 6 offensive line, give Alec Anderson some snaps. I'm ready to
run
just
the clock.
pound. Yeah, I'm fine with Ray Davis and Ty Johnson having double-digit carries.
I want a pretty pedestrian game from Josh Allen, this week. I don't think he's going to play for his streak. You're not going to get Josh to not play unless he's hurt. So, but I don't want him dropping back a ton times. I don't want any design runs. Let's run this clock out, get out of this game. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. We'll get to the predictions, but in terms of sitting a guy like Cook, I think you could do it in this game. Again, all respect to all opponents, but you do sort of have to make those decisions, I think, within the bigger goal of the season.
Yeah. And, this is one where I won't be terribly upset if we see, how about a Frank Gore Jr. elevation?
Sure.
Bring him up, get him some reps. We just signed back Kingsley Jonathan. I don't know. I'm looking quick here. Are you aware of, we already had a defensive end on the practice squad before signing Kingsley Jonathan. I'll Venmo you $50 if you tell me what the name is.
Oh man. We had one on the practice squad already.
Yep. If anybody in the chat genuinely knows his name and doesn't cheat and go look at the internet, I'll give you a free Cover 1-1 pass membership.
I don't.
Other than Chris Jenke. If Chris Jenke is listening, you don't count.
Yeah, that's he has a running board of the practice squad. From
Louisiana Lafayette College, Andre Jones Jr. was on our practice squad. Were you aware Andre Jones Jr. was a human who existed?
Not on our team, no. I was I feel like I got a good handle on the practice squad from the I bet there's 2 or 3 guys I don't even know.
Everybody else here is Nick Broker, Shane Buechele, Travis Clayton, Corey Couch, Frank Gore Jr., Stephen Gosnell, Kendrick Green, Dan Jackson, Keonta Jenkins, Kingsley Jonathan, Kaleki Latu, Zion Logue, Balen Spector, Christian Wilkerson. I knew every other name on that list. Andre Jones Jr. doesn't even have a picture. It's just a Bills logo. I was going to say, we'll have to elevate Kingsley Jonathan because we don't have another defensive end on the practice squad. But of course we do because we have Andre Jones Jr.
We're good to go. We don't need anything.
All is well. All is well.
With depth. Man.
All right. On that note, last chance to get any other questions in the chat here. We're going to bring up for What's Brewing, Southern Tier Brewing Company.
Let's do predictions before we bring producer. We got to do it. I wrote one out. I'll go first.
Okay.
If you'd like.
Go ahead.
Before we bring producer Colin up, my prediction for this one is, I told you, I think the Bills are going to run it out. I think we're way overmatched on this roster. Even if they sit some guys, they should go out and win this. I got it 27-16 Bills. Nothing fancy. I think that people still be pissed that the pass game maybe doesn't look fantastic, but I think again, it will be a week you don't need it to.
Spot on. I definitely am going to go under. The over and under is 50.5. We are going to run the ball so much that clock is just going to be like a running clock. I don't know if you saw when I was posting, I was at the high school playoff game last week. and we were up by 30, and it was like 35-0 early in the second quarter. I was like, what is going on? And state of Ohio has a rule that if you're up 30, there's a running clock, even in playoffs. It was great. I'd like them to be considering having a running clock in the second half. That would be great. Yeah, I think it's going to be clunkier and uglier than people like, but I don't think this Dolphins team is good, and I think they want to quit. And if we can just score quickly, they will quit. And they will give up.
We'll hit Tua a few times, and
yeah, they won't be interested. Our pass rush is still real. James Leclerc here is saying Landon Jackson gets a sack. I do think Landon Jackson is active this weekend in plays.
Yeah.
And I'll probably watch him pretty closely because I want to see, like, hey, is there anything we can get here? The start has been rough, but he's also a young player, the rookie player. We'll see what we can get.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm probably closer to 13 for the Dolphins, and I think we have something stupid like 23.
Sure.
Like 23-13. Both teams there's like 5 field goals in the game. And we probably feel kind of anxious, but they're not even really in it. And it's probably one of those games where it's like 20-6 late in the game, and they score a touchdown finally.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle scores like when we take the backups are in or stuff like that. So I'll go 23-13, but that we're comfortably ahead, 17-3 at halftime, something like that, and then kind of cruise to finish.
I like it.
All right, now we're ready. Mr. Colin Ritchie, join us here on the stage. How we doing, Colin?
Doing great. Happy Andre Jones Jr. Day to everyone.
We celebrate it all the time. Huge fans here.
I'll have to go back and look because I don't know if it was Andre Jones or a different guy, but I think it was Andre Jones that when it was announced that he was here for a visit that day, we had a show and you guys were talking about how you didn't know who that was. But if he did sign to the Bills practice squad, then you would learn who he was.
I still didn't. I didn't do our homework.
I didn't follow. I hope that's true, and that we just didn't follow through to
that's
look
the
up
most
his
me thing ever to like say something and then not.
I'll see if I can go find that clip, and I'll send that to you guys after, and we can get that circulating on social media if he gets elevated from the practice squad this week.
Absolutely love it.
So I've got some questions from the chat here, and then I also have a bit of a trivia game for you. So which one would you guys want to do first?
Let's do the chat questions first, and we'll save the trivia to close.
Sounds good. Okay, so first we have Chris asking, what do we think of Javon Solomon on Sunday against the Chiefs?
So I'll start on this one. He was the like mini version of what they used Hoyt for in the 6 games leading up. He was the guy that we saw as when they would do the pass rush games where there was no defensive tackles on the field, he would be the interior defensive end to pass rush. Obviously, he's not to the level that Hoyt is or the impact that Hoyt is, but I would guess that he does have a role in being a part of that replacement solution, because now, I didn't realize it at the time, but now in hindsight, seeing how much they used Hoyt doing that, I kind of think they were substituting Javon Solomon a little bit there. He's just not quite as capable as what Hoyt is. So I would guess we'd go back to that, and that we will see him as a interior rotational pass rusher, which is a bonus because he can play all 4 special teams roles and deserves to have a game day jersey and can just chip in where he can.
Yeah, I'm torn because I know that he can do some of that role in the defense and that we were excited by that role. I think what made Hoyt so good was Hoyt, not just inserting athletic guy into that role.
Similar to when we lost Lorenzo Alexander and people, who's going to be the next one? We're not going to have another one because we don't have a guy to do all those things.
I was talking to Cody Alexander about it a little bit, and I think he agrees with your point. I think Eric's point. Some people like there are other guys that can do it, but I don't think that they have like the football IQ that Hoyt has, and that ability to kind of just always be by the ball and making a play is such a rare one. And when you don't always have that guy, I think you can get lulled into mistakes. Like those gadgets are cool when like the play works and you confuse people, but the gadget's not cool if the guy kind of gets washed out or whatever the play is. Then it's like the old classic, you got too cute. So I don't know how much I want to see it, but I think as a wrinkle, I'd like to see more of it. It's an interesting way to get him involved because he's kind of fallen out of the rotation otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay, our next question comes from Ryan. He asks, can we just let Michael Hoyt sit with the other boys? We need that character who can fire up others. Do we get a designated bench spot for Michael Hoyt for the rest of the season?
I'm not even joking. I hope so.
I
even kind of think he'll want to be around.
Yeah.
Probably not. He's not going to travel. He's not going to travel to fly to road games when he's rehabbing. He's going to have surgery this week, so he's obviously not flying this week. I would guess we do see him on a scooter on the sideline for home games.
Yeah. I mean, Dwayne Carter's around the team and stuff. We saw him at our practice recently walking around. Like, I do think, one, the Bills invested a lot in the resources at the facility, which would make sense for him to be there post-surgery and being part of his recovery. And we just saw the video. Everybody saw the video of him. I think you're going to have a hard time keeping him away from the team and that camaraderie. I think it's actually probably something we don't probably give enough credit to these guys as the mental that it takes for these elite athletes to have to go through a surgery and then a rehab. And for a guy like that to be around his brothers, I think is probably an important piece of that rehab.
100%. Well said.
And for anyone that doesn't know about the video that Aaron's referencing, as soon as this live stream ends, go to Twitter, go to the Buffalo Bills page, and watch the 2-minute video they just posted about Michael Hoyt insisting that he sits on the sideline for the rest of the game to watch,
cheering on his team with a torn Achilles. Yeah.
Multiple trainers trying to get him to get on the cart and to go back to the locker room, like pretty shocked. Multiple guys coming over wanting to talk to him about the injury, and he said, "No, hey, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah. Go win this game." Like genuinely, like brings a tear to your eye. Like really, really cool stuff. Like stuff out of the movies that you would expect to see, and he did in real life in a game that really mattered.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got Nisht Fardak asking, question for the guys. I haven't watched the tape, but how's our linebacker room looking lately? All I heard from the first part of the year was how bad Bernard is playing. Does Milano re-sign next year? So a lot of questions there, but maybe just a general overview of the linebacker room and what the future outlook looks like for that group.
Yeah, I'll start on this one, Greg. It isn't what we expect it to look like when you have Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano back there. I think there's a number of reasons of why it's looked like that a little bit this year. I do think Bernard is dealing with something, right? I think we had probably a high ankle sprain that he had when Rapp also additionally fell on it that game. That I still think he's in that window of time where those are healing. Something looks off specifically with him to me. Milano's an interesting one because he's just still coming back from that injury. And so he's playing his way in. I think the legs are there. I think he's going to be fine into that role as long as he can keep that bicep healthy. But the Bernard one's a weird one to me right now because he doesn't look the way we expect him to look. And you're not going to get that ankle better by playing on it. And so I don't know if that's extending the issue for him. And I don't know on Shaq Thompson. If Shaq Thompson, I would have liked to see him play in this game because I think that rotation is what they're going to do going forward. But I thought also in the linebacker room, Dorian looked pretty good in his role of just kind of coming in and being an additional player in that role. But yeah, I have concerns with Bernard and Milano, but I don't know, you could speak more to Milano re-signing. I would probably say I'm all set with that.
Yeah. So play-wise, it's been a mixed bag. Like, I don't think we've seen anything to the level of, obviously not Milano's peak, but not consistency because he can stay on the field. When he's on the field, Milano's still pretty good. Bernard has not been at his level, but like Aaron said, we're assuming he's playing through something here that's impacting him because I don't think he didn't get dumb. Like, he's a smart football player. So, like, some of the reactionary stuff and being in the right position, it's because he can't trigger to get there as quick as he was, and he didn't get old. So I think he's got to be trying to play gut through something. It's just a guess. Like, we don't know that, but we're just guessing. Shaq Thompson has been decent. Durant Williams has had moments. We're just going to have a platoon at linebacker like we do at safety. Hooray. Right now, because of the way they did Milano's deal, they did get some cap savings. They pushed everything to next year, but they also voided his deal. So he's a free agent at the end of the year, and there's an $11 million dead cap hit next year for Matt Milano. If we extend him beforehand, you can spread that money out. So in theory, it totally depends on how he plays and if there's any market for him. But let's say, so Aaron, I'll put you in a position using the face you just made. Let's say we find out we could bring back Matt Milano at a $4 million deal with some incentives where if he played, 14, 15 plus games, he got 7 or 8 million.
Sure.
And in doing so, you could then spread those $11 million out over the subsequent years. So you end up actually getting Matt Milano for a $6.5 million cap hit to be on the team or $11 million cap hit to not be on the team. How would you approach that?
Sure. I think the face I made is more like the idea of
it is kicking the can down the road further. And if you do that deal I just said, and you take like 2.5-3 million of it next year, that does mean that all you're doing is the next year you would still have 8.5 million of that.
It's just more
still
palatable
sitting there to be paid.
Yeah.
You just would spread it out further rather than taking all your medicine next year.
It's probably the path that they'll take, and it would be like Milano in that point in his career, maybe as like that backup role. It's better than you're getting from some of the guys that they've had kind of do that role year over year. Think of where Shaq Thompson is this year. Like, I think Milano could come in and do that Shaq Thompson role for the team. I'm just frustrated that the best years are behind Milano. He's such a dynamic player. To me, he's almost
next year.
To me, it almost feels like he's like for old basketball heads like myself, like a Grant Hill of the Buffalo Bills, where like he had such a high end talent, and every time that he got close to that talent, an injury occurred where it just kept him off the field. And I think he could have been looked at as such a different player of this generation at the linebacker position, and just kind of ran into injury after injury. And the idea of continuing to pay that as he continues to give you less and less just hurts my heart a little bit, because he's such a good player, and I wanted it to work way better than it had.
Yeah. Unfortunately not the case, but we'll see where that ends up, and we can play
I hope
around
I'm wrong.
with it.
Maybe he has a resurrection here late, gets over this bicep, and we'll be like, oh, that was a weird moment in his career.
Tough one from RJ here saying it sucks because we basically lost the entire prime of Milano and Trey. Like those guys had those back-to-back injuries in the weird stretches where what should have been like a really nice stretch, 27, 28, 29 years old, we just lost tons of it.
Tough stuff. I hate to invoke another name in this conversation, but let's hope that when Ed Oliver comes back that he can
similar path right now, right?
Yeah.
Sadly, some inklings of that. Let's hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
All right, last one for you here from Kel4055, and I have some numbers here to provide a little context with the question, because it sounds absurd in the beginning, but there could be a chance.
We'll brace ourselves accordingly.
Hopefully Josh has another 10 years. Do you think he can catch Emmitt Smith for career rushing touchdowns? So as we know, Josh Allen just passed Cam Newton for most combined touchdowns rushing by a quarterback in the regular season and postseason. He needs like 2 or 3 more for the regular season record. So Josh Allen has 80 rushing touchdowns in 8 years. That's including finishing this season at the pace he's currently at. So he's averaging about 10 per season. Emmitt Smith finished with 164 in 15 years, which was an average of about 12 per season. So Josh needs to double the rushing touchdowns he currently has, but he's only played half of the years that Emmitt Smith has so far.
No, I don't think Josh will do that.
So first, let me start with, of course not. That is for sure not going to happen. I will say the pace part where Josh is obviously going to play longer than Emmitt Smith. Or
he
not
just got like
but
5 in 2 weeks, didn't he?
Well, I mean, he's had spikes. Now, the hard part is Emmitt Smith also had seasons early on where he had 18, 21, and 25 touchdowns. So like some of those he racked up pretty quick. So the fact that he played fewer seasons, one, he didn't play that many fewer. because he played 15 years in the NFL, which is forever for a running back. It's why he's the all-time leading rusher.
Correct. Yeah.
Because Barry Sanders is better than him his
Walter
whole career.
Payton was too. Yeah.
But he got to play behind the unbelievable Cowboys offensive line, and he was incredibly durable and one of the greatest like Iron Men. That game where he had a separated shoulder and still carried the ball like 35 times is one of the most heroic NFL performances in history. But even beyond that, he scored 39 touchdowns from the age of 30 and on. So, like, at some point here, we've talked about it. I've often said we're not going to get the graceful Tom Brady ending for Josh Allen. That is not going to be the case.
Ben Roethlisberger.
That's the one I use all the time. We're going to get the John Elway, Ben Roethlisberger ending, where they both still played into their late 30s, which is 10 more years from now. Awesome time. But that he's gonna show his age and his wear and tear. And we're going to get the Ben Roethlisberger pick where he has the ice pack on both elbows and both shoulders and both knees. It's not going to be graceful at the end for Josh because he plays, in a style that makes him love us, like, or makes us love him. And like the reason that we love him so much. So I also think that at some point here, I don't expect like the Ben Roethlisberger park and bark where he just would sit in the shotgun and not move. But those guys stopped running too, because just Father Time is undefeated and it's just the way it works. So there will come a time here in the next 5 years where Josh will dial back the amount that he runs pretty significantly. He'll still pick up the 3rd and 5 when we need it, but he's going to dial back a lot of the other stuff in like 5 years. So when that happens, then the fact that he plays extra doesn't actually, the extrapolation won't continue. Sure, if Josh just doubled up 10 more years, of the pace he's at now, sure, that sounds great. But he will make smart decisions and do it that way. It's the same one I bring up. Browns fans will talk about Myles Garrett's pace. And they're like, hey, could he catch Bruce Smith? And I'm like, maybe. But Bruce kept putting up double-digit sack seasons forever. Bruce had 14 seasons with double-digit sacks, and he was getting sacks at 40 years old. Like his longevity was very honestly Emmitt Smith-like in his ability to just keep accruing big double-digit sack seasons forever. And if, Myles Garrett does that, God bless him. But, Bruce Smith was a 5-time All-Pro after the age of 30. He was an All-Pro 5 times from age 30 beyond. So, and heck, he won Defensive Player of the Year at age 33. So if Myles Garrett keeps stacking up those kind of numbers, he is the one guy who I think does have a chance to go after Bruce's sack record.
I was going to say, Myles
going to take something like that.
Better care of himself than Bruce.
I
don't know if he
can.
Accurate.
I think that's accurate. You don't think that Bruce is drinking carrot juice and reading about dinosaurs?
I don't think so. Yeah,
that's not the version I heard.
That was not the '90s workout plan.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Are you got a game for us?
Are you ready to quiz us?
I have a game for you. So you can either work together or if you want to compete against each other and go back and forth. But Josh Allen has thrown 40 touchdown passes against the Miami Dolphins. That's by far the most of any team he's played against. I think New England's second with like 21. So it's half of that.
Jeez. Yeah, he's had some crazy games.
Yeah. So 40 touchdown passes plus 3 in the playoffs as well. 19 different receivers have caught those 40, 43 with the playoffs touchdown passes. So if you want to go back and forth, if you want to work together, but I have the list of all of them here in front of me.
All right. So let's rip off the easy ones.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. Diggs
has the most with 6.
Dawson Knox has to have a few.
Dawson Knox has 4 plus 1 in the playoffs.
Because he's been around a while. I'm thinking of guys that have been here.
Yeah. Gabe Davis.
Gabe.
3 plus 1 in the playoffs.
John Brown.
Yep. He's got 5, second most.
Cole Beasley.
Just 1 in the regular season plus 1 in the playoffs.
Ooh, careful. You almost got a ding there.
I almost got a ding.
I'll give you 3 strikes. I'll give you 3 strikes.
Okay. All
right. Dalton Kincaid.
He's got 1.
I was going to say Charles Clay just to be funny because he didn't catch.
You know who does,
really
though?
Mattered.
Tight end, crazy tight end. elite talent Jackson Haas has a Miami Dolphins touchdown this year.
Jackson Haas has one.
So does Quentin Morris, if I remember correctly.
Quentin Morris has 2.
All right. There's other receivers we're missing here. This is not an official guess. I'm asking my partner here. Is Emmanuel Sanders one? He had to have like 4 or 5 Dolphins games in his stretch here. He had to get a touchdown on one of them.
I'm trying to think. Maybe not. I don't know. I can't remember an Emmanuel Sanders.
Mac Collins. Did Mac get one against them last year?
Mac, I remember. I feel like Mac had one.
Okay, Mac Collins' official guess.
Mac Collins has 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like Shakir has to have had one.
Oh yeah, Khalil Shakir.
Khalil Shakir has 1.
Ooh.
Okay.
That is sneaky. We haven't done any running backs yet.
Correct.
So
James Cook had the super easy button one last year where it was like a walk-in touchdown that Brady set up.
So yes, James Cook.
James Cook has 2, and that is the only running back with multiple receiving touchdowns against the Dolphins.
But there's another running back.
He said multiple.
At least.
I mean, another
again.
Devin.
I was going to say Singletary.
Devin Singletary had 1.
Okay. So we have
where are we at? We got to be 15
you have
or so?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 12 of the 19.
Okay. RJ chipping in from the chat here with Isaiah McKenzie. We haven't guessed McKenzie or Sanders.
I think we can use the call a friend. We'll use a call a friend for that. Is McKenzie one?
Isaiah McKenzie.
No. I'm using the phone a friend from Carpin, Trent Sherfield with that crazy toe tap catch. I had already McKenzie and Sanders in my list. I might not have guessed Trent Sherfield, so we'll use the chat phone a friend for that one.
Okay.
Yes, Trent Sherfield had 1, the one that was tipped at the line of scrimmage. And then Isaiah McKenzie had 3.
I know he had the amazing Patriots game, but he had once against the Dolphins too. I'll officially guess Emmanuel Sanders.
That's going to be your first strike.
Dang it! God damn it, Greg.
Do we guess Ty Johnson?
You did not guess Ty Johnson. Would you like?
No. I'm asking Aaron. Should we? Oh. Should we guess Ty Johnson?
I can't. He's been here more recently. I feel like I remember the very recent ones, and I don't remember him.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think what the rosters were like COVID rosters. We had McKenzie. All right.
The Robert Foster famous one was against the Jaguars, but did he get one against the Dolphins? He had that stretch. How about in the Charles Clay game?
Did Zay Jones have a Miami?
Zay Jones is a good guess.
Would you like to submit that guess?
Yes.
Yes, he had 4.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good pull.
So I can give you a hint if you want. You're missing 4 more still.
4 guys. 4 more. Yeah, I'll take a hint. Any more running backs?
I was going to say something position-y hint-wise.
Yeah. Sure. You've got 1 wide receiver and 3 running backs with an asterisk next to that left.
3 asterisk backs.
Is it fullback? Did Pat
DeMarco?
Did Pat DeMarco score a touchdown?
Think more current.
Did Reggie Gilliam score a receiving touchdown?
Reggie Gilliam has a receiving touchdown.
Nice. Good for him.
Okay.
All right, so 3 left.
So the running backs that we haven't guessed yet are like Zach Moss.
So you're getting a hint from Mike in the chat. 1 player you're missing is currently on the team still. That was going to be my next hint for you.
Oh.
Is it Ty Johnson? I'm trying to get a read off Colin. He's not giving us any read. God damn it.
He's very
stoic. There's still 1 more running back, right? We
guessed all 3 tight ends.
There's 2 more running backs and then a wide receiver. One of them is
only one of those players is on the team.
Of those 3, yes.
So we haven't guessed Ty Johnson yet. We haven't guessed Ray Davis yet. We haven't guessed
Keon didn't catch any.
Wait. No, darn it. I was gonna say Trail Shavers, but that was the Patriots game.
Man, I don't know. My mind's drawn a blank. Do you want to just throw out a guess? Ty Johnson?
It's Ty Johnson.
That's going to be strike number 2.
Dang it.
Okay, so Ray Davis.
Ray Davis has 1.
Okay.
So you're missing 2 more. One's a
running back, one receiver.
One's a wide receiver. They both only scored 1 touchdown against Miami.
So again, Zach Moss is out there.
We already get Singletary.
I've got another hint for you if you want.
Okay.
So it's fitting that earlier in the episode you guys were talking about the trade deadline and the Bills not adding a piece at the deadline because one of these players was acquired at the trade deadline.
Amari Cooper? No. Cooper didn't catch. Kelvin Benjamin? No. Can't be Kelvin Benjamin.
I mean, he did technically play with Josh.
Correct. And was acquired at the trade deadline. I'm trying to think of other trades. Hines? Was it Hines a trade? Was he a trade deadline? He's a running back.
He was, but
that's a running back.
I think it's Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper? Okay. Amari Cooper?
That's going to be strike 3, unfortunately.
All right, who's left?
Okay,
Deontay Hardy?
He had a punt return against the Dolphins. He did not catch a touchdown. So the two guys you were missing, you did say both of their names. You just kind of passed over them rather quickly. So Nyheim Hines was one of them.
Well, he was traded, right?
He was the guy that I was talking about that we acquired at the deadline. And then the other one that you guys mentioned that I'm surprised you never went back to was Robert Foster.
Okay. Yeah. Dang it. That was fun.
All right. We were pretty good. That was pretty good
was
jogging the memory. I can't remember the thing my wife told me we had done on this weekend, but I definitely remember random Miami Dolphin touchdowns.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Okay. I like that. Good game. Good game, Colin.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And great job by the chat. You guys had a lot of those good contributions.
You had some good polls, man. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, K. Omari said it's not good enough.
Not good enough for you.
Yeah. Dude, I'm trying to get fired. I'm sorry. I'm not doing a good enough job.
I'm jealously watching these college coaches. I'm looking to get bought out. Like getting bought out looks awesome. Yeah. I am super interested in whatever I got to do to get bought out. That looks like the good stuff right there. But we appreciate you guys. We are going to be here post game on Sunday after Bills Dolphins. Make sure you're checking out all the other great stuff going on around the Cover One Network, all the shows, all the work everybody's putting in. Thank you to our sponsors, Southern Tier Brewing Company, and our friends over at William Mattar Law Offices. We appreciate them very, very much. But on behalf of fantastic producer Colin Ritchie and my lovely co-host Aaron Quinn, I'm Greg Tompsett. You've been listening to Cover One Buffalo, and we are